Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for December 30, 2022, the Pele edition. I'm going to dedicate the entire episode today to Pele. There have been transcendent stars in sports. There have been the greatest of all times. In American basketball, we've obviously got Michael Jordan. In American football, we've got Tom Brady. In baseball, we've got sort of take your pick. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Honus Wagner. I'm not quite sure who might be the GOAT, but there's only one GOAT that transcends the world in sports, perhaps even more than Jim Thorpe in his putative Olympic run in 1912, and that's Pele. He played in Brazil, I think everyone knows, for Santos. Played for the Brazilian national soccer team. He made his debut when he was 16 years old on the international scene in 1957. In 1958, as a 17-year-old, he led Brazil to a World Cup. He led Brazil to 2 more World Cups in 1962 and then again in 1970. If you've ever seen the old black and white reels of Pele and some of his scoring highlights, he was certainly magical with the ball. But the thing I remember of Pele is just his love of the game. And more than his love of the game was his smile and his infectious enthusiasm. He came to America at the twilight of his career to play for the New York Cosmos, and the stir it created in America was palpable. He met then President Gerald Ford in the White House, who he signed a soccer ball for the president, and he put not exactly American soccer on the map, but it brought a credibility to the then pro soccer league in America. He later became a minister of sports in Brazil and continued to bring that infectious enthusiasm. Perhaps the greatest tribute I can think of all the tributes that were laid at the feet of Pele, was the fact that his number 10 became the number for the top scorer of every team in the world. They didn't retire his number, they still wear it. And if you're wearing a number 10, you can trace that directly back to Pele. So I know you're up there in the beautiful game in the sky. Bless you, Pele. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.